something that not many of our listeners would know of is that you dropped out of school at a very early age in your early 20s. But then at age 40, you decided to go back to school where you pursued a BA in liberal arts with a concentration in leadership and organizational studies. So, share with us a little bit about what prompted that move and what was it like navigating both studying, working full time, leading a team, and having a family?
Yeah, it was a lot. So
Sounds like a lot.
yeah, I dropped out of school after a couple of years in my early 20s because I just wasn't enjoying it. I didn't feel fulfilled. I was enjoying work so much more. And that taught me that I'm a much more hands on experiential learner. I just was not motivated by school and I was getting motivated at work. So I dropped out, but I always felt like I had this unfinished business. Nobody ever told me you need to go back to school if you want to advance your career. This is holding you back. That was never came up in the narrative. And obviously it didn't impact because by the time I went back to school, I was a director. But I kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And, I just like at one point I was like, it was something I felt like I needed to accomplish to bring closure to so that I could do it. And I was scared to death because at that time I was 40. I didn't know if I knew how to study. I didn't know if I was going to be able to hack being able to go to school and work full time. I wasn't sure if I would thrive in an academic environment because I didn't, 20 years earlier. So I was really, really scared. I was scared of failure. But after talking to my husband, and I'm so grateful for him because we made a decision when I decided to go back to school that he would be primary caregiver for our son. I think my son was in elementary school, but my husband decided to put work on hold so that I could go to school and still work full time. And it was a big shift for our family because I was at school at nights and sometimes on the weekends. So I wasn't home much at all. The school that I chose, it was a liberal arts school that had a bachelor's completion program. There's people that were younger than me and people that were older than me, but there were people who had already had some sort of work experience. And all of a sudden, my network grew and my community grew. And I was surrounded with people that were really diverse from my work life because you had people who were in social services and healthcare and independent business owners and people in the arts, very different from being in corporate America. And it was just such a rich experience for me. So I just had to be really routinized about how I spent my time. I had to stop my social life as much, got rid of my book club, just kind of really structured my days and time in a way that felt like I was able to give in the big rocks in my life. And I really defined my big rocks as work, family, and school. And so everything else just kind of fell away. And then I also had to set expectations for myself on what a success looked like. So I went into this with my goal is to just meet expectations. Like I'm not going to be the highest performer at work. I may not be the best student and I'm probably not going to be mom of the year. Right. But if I can just do each of those things at a level that felt adequate, I felt good about, then that was success. So I really did was very explicit about that and just went in with a lot of flexibility and knowing that I was doing the best that I can. So I am so grateful for the support of my husband. I'm grateful for my work because there was a couple quarters where I had classes that started at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, which meant I had to leave early. And I'm obviously super grateful for my kid who, was not complaining that mom wasn't around. I mean, there was a lot of pressure and a lot of mom guilt that I wasn't around as much, but that 2 years that I was back just flew by, and I just couldn't have done it without that support of community. One thing I did mention in my book was I was a director when I back to school, but then I got promoted to vice president, and I was like, "Oh, no, am I gonna have to drop out of school now?" Because, like, who could be a vice president and go to school full time and have a young kid at home? And I remember talking with my boss at the time, and I said, I'm honored and flattered, but I'm in school and I am committed. Like once I got in, I'm like, I can't drop out again. I have to finish this. And he looked at me and he said, and that's, you need a great team. I'm actually going to have lunch with him today. I haven't seen him for a couple of years because of COVID. And he was right. I just really need to remember to surround myself with really great people. And I think that really helped as well. So there's a lot, but I just really had to kind of manage my own expectations of myself and then lean on those around me and just also make sure I'm really prioritized and focused. It's totally random. It's not in the book. I actually broke my ankle and was in a cast. So I like got promoted to vice president. I was in school and then I broke my ankle. I was a mess.
Was it from running? Like, was it from one of your marathons?
It was from skiing.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
from skiing.
No.
Yeah, which my boot wasn't fitting properly. And I'm like, what else can happen?
When it's
Just like
worse.
so I remember studying, sitting on the sofa, trying to figure out how to get to school because I had a cast on my right leg and I couldn't drive. And like, yeah.
Talk
Anyway,
about a
it was
memorable year indeed.
it was so crazy.